Yeah, you boys take away from the United perspective.
If I must. On the day, I actually didn't think we were too bad. I mean, we put in a pretty decent performance. Like you said, Ronaldo was exemplary, and he did sort of remind people how good he is, because people say he's got nothing to offer still. Just, I don't know what they're sort of thinking with that, but clearly showed that he has. I mean, other positives, none really, to be honest. Like, Tellez was basically playing against us, so was Bruno. Defense was with Varane was very, very shaky again. I mean, less said about the rest of the team, the better. But, we didn't play too badly. So I'm not really going to rip into them too much. But obviously, we haven't recorded since the Liverpool game as well. And that was an absolute sickener. Just what's really getting me at the minute is, again, I mean, I wasn't at the match, but I've heard again, only 2 players went over and clapped the fans at the end of the game. And it's something so little. But, it means a lot. These lads would have had to been up at silly o'clock to get from Manchester down to the game. And it's always the usual suspects. Always Sancho does it every single game. And I think the 2 that I saw were Sancho and De Gea.
I saw them as well.
Yeah, obviously you were there. And apparently, I mean, Marcus Rashford just didn't even look at the fans and just walked straight down the tunnel. And I think, I'm not going to go too overboard on him because I know he's struggling, but I think his attitude at the moment just sums everything up. Like, he's supposed to be the kid that's come through the academy, the kid that's hungry, but he just seems to have got too big for his boots. And I think you could say that for a lot of the squad right now. And I mean, especially Bruno Fernandes, he needs a bit out of the team because he's a fantastic player, and people who say he's not aligned to themselves. But, the way he's playing at the minute and the way he played on Saturday, it's quite embarrassing, really. And, a lot of people don't like the fact that he, throws his hands in the air, moans and stuff. I don't mind that as such because he's clearly a player that just, loses his emotions a bit off the pitch, which is fine. He's a human being. But I do feel like he is starting to get a bit too big for his boots. Like, as good as he has been for us, we're still yet to win a trophy under him. And his big game record isn't the best. And, his attitude at the minute is starting to get on my nerves a little bit. And, the whole squad is really. And the main thing is, what sums it up is not clapping the fans, even though they've been stinking up the pitch for the last couple of months. And, the fans are always there every week getting their backs and, no acknowledgement. I mean, Damil, obviously you go to matches as well, so you'll, understand this. Like, it's just not on. Like, the attitude at the minute, I don't even know where to start. Is there any players that are immune to this, just immune to this in general?
Yeah, I think I think the 2 people you mentioned who claps at the end, Sancho and De Gea, I think they're, especially Sancho, he's obviously he's a new guy coming to the club, and he's tried, he's given his all, he showed his support to the fans. He's never given up. He's never stropped around the pitch, complain, all of that. He gets on with it. De Gea, he shows that he cares on the pitch. He's demanding, he's shouting. He seems frustrated when we let a goal in. I see the defenders, when they let a goal in, they turn around and they think, oh, okay, back, the goal's back in the net. Well, let's go again, guys. De Gea actually looks like he gives he gives a damn. Ronaldo cares in a different way. Obviously, I don't think we've seen Ronaldo just go down the tunnel straight away, but I think that's just Ronaldo. He cares by putting in good performances.
He did it even in his first game back. He was one of the first down the tunnel. He does it all the time.
Exactly.
Like, it's just one of them. It's not, it'd be nice if he'd come over and, clap every game, but it's not like he just doesn't do it when he's not playing.
He's more than on the right.
Yeah, I mean, it's recovery, I think it sort of is. But
because he wants to, I remember seeing he gets like an ice bath or something 5 minutes before the game ends. 5 minutes before
it is something on those lines. But I'm seeing United fans all over the place, Twitter and everything, just trying to point fingers at certain people. But I just don't think that's the case. Like, the last couple of weeks have been, Maguire this, Maguire that. But Maguire's dropped and the defence is the exact same. Like, there's no point pointing fingers at players at this point. That's why I was just literally going to ask you. I don't even think I can name 5 players that are blameless at the club at the minute. I mean...
No. Because
you say Sancho, and I love Sancho's attitude, and I think he'd be a great player for us. But his performances this season have been underwhelming. There's no getting away from that on the whole. And I have no doubt that he's going to be a good player for us long term. But, this season alone... you can't say he is. I mean, Ronaldo certainly isn't blameless. Like, he does have his limitations, but, you can't fault his mentality and such. So, he's not the one. De Gea, I don't think he's quite there. He's done interviews and stuff. He refuses to acknowledge that he's got his limitations and whatever. And what happened in the reverse fixture with Arsenal still gets on my nerves now. With the whole standing on the back of the foot thing, and he just led on the floor and let them score.
Yeah.
Just get up and carry on. That sort of thing.
Look, listen. I think you can't say it's impossible to say anyone's blameless considering the position we are in. I just feel like there were certain others that have caused more blame than others. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
There's actual people who may not have the best ability, but do care. I actually appreciate. I've learned to appreciate Scott McTominay and Fred a bit more now. Purely the fact because I'm seeing players that work their asses off, 90 minutes in, 90 minutes out. They care for the badge. Scott McTominay, I really don't think he's that great of a player. I mean, I think he had something like 39 passes in the midfield, but he actually, he cares. The
thing is, that's the absolute bare minimum, right? If you're a player and you're not having the best of time, the bare minimum is you put in 100% and you go and appreciate the fans at the end of the game. That's the bare minimum that you do, and those players are not doing that at the moment. And it's infuriating.
It is infuriating.
And what do you make of the Lingard leaks? I mean, I think there's 2 players at Man United. I think there's 3 players at United that can feel really hard done by their minutes this season. Henderson, Lingard, and Bailly. Those are the 3 players that I think have a right to feel hard done by. They're the only ones that do in the whole squad. But you don't go and leak information to the press. That's disrespectful to the club that he's been at for the last 20 odd years. It's disrespectful to his teammates, the manager, and the fans. He's going to leave in 4 matches anyway. I get he's frustrated. You leave, and then if you want to do an interview and rat them all out, then fair play. But, essentially, he must have given Scholes a go-ahead to go and say that on TV. I mean, for anyone that hasn't seen, Scholes pretty much said on, I think it was American TV, that he'd had a chat with Lingard midweek and the dressing room's a disgrace, which it probably is, or definitely is. But,
it was it not on BT?
No, but it wasn't on BT. It was something else, I'm sure. But
is it not like the players almost want it to be like that when they're saying stuff like that? Like everyone knows that it's a toxic atmosphere.
It is a blame deflector a bit as well.
You don't do that though. You don't. It's disrespectful to everyone within the club.
You've got to remember as well, someone like Jesse Lingard, you're representing United. Like people look up to you and stuff. Like you can't be the one who's like leakers. I'm sure it stems from agent heavily as well, but it just doesn't ever make any sense to me.
But with these players, they actually don't care. Like they know they're gone, they're off. Yeah. Like they really.
I wouldn't give Lingard a single more minute this season.
It's really like just working at a normal job for them, and that 2 weeks later I'm going on holiday. It's literally that's the reality of what the situation is for these players. And you're right, Lingard, Bailly, and Henderson do deserve much more minutes this season, but like I say, like leaking to the press, and I can't lie, I'm pretty sure there's been rumours that Henderson's leaked to the press as well.
If that's the case, then that's also not on. Like
all of these players leaking to the press. I don't hear anything going on in other clubs about press leaks. Like every single day, every single week, there's a press leak. I don't understand.
I saw an article this morning that they think there's up to 5 players that are
outrageous.
Where you go forward with this, it's an absolute circus, and it winds me up. Look, all I want, I've said this on here before, all I want as a fan is a team to be proud of, and that performance against Arsenal wasn't too bad. Against Liverpool, I was furious because we were pathetic, but after that, I was a bit like, you know what, we're a terrible team. We actually did all right. We put a shift in. I can't be too angry. The season's got to end anyway. Whatever. But it's absolutely infuriating. The bare minimum you should do is put your 100% in. And where you go from here, I mean, obviously Ten Hag's coming in. Ideally you want anyone who's got any problem or wants to leave or whatever, just off you go. Obviously that's not.
You know what as well? Like I think it's so hard to talk about specific players because all right, so let's say players who are down tooling right now, whatever that system or performance, they all of a sudden just start performing. I'm not talking about someone like Maguire, who's clearly far more system fit, but I'm talking about someone who's, when you say about leaks to the press and stuff, if they all of a sudden stop performing well for Ten Hag, like that always will leave you like a sour taste.
Well, yeah. Obviously, like a lot of people, there is a way back, but if it comes out at the end of the season that Harry Maguire's been one of these people leaking out to the press, I'm a big fan of his, you guys know that. But even if then he turns it around, that still is going to be in the back of people's minds. Like, I get people are fed up. It's been a horrendous season and we all want it to end. And if somebody who's like Rashford, who, is pretty much down tooling now. I think the way he's conducted himself at the minute is ridiculous. But I don't doubt that he will want to knuckle down and get going again under Ten Hag. But you
should
still
he not be
don't
doing
have
that now, though?
right
To set
now.
precedent.
Yeah.
Set,
Honestly,
lay foundations now.
They are pathetic. They are absolutely pathetic.
Yeah.
Actually, like somebody like Rashford right now.
I think Rashford is. I'm sick with Rashford right now. Absolutely sick with him. You're such a well looked up.
He's supposed to be the spearhead of what Manchester United is about.
Yeah,
and he's such walking around the pitch.
For everyone, for the whole nation, Rashford, the role model for the whole nation. You're looked up to this with such high regard. You're playing for one of the biggest clubs in the world. This is your boyhood club. The club you support. Put in some effort. Show that you care. Show that you actually want to play for this club. Like,
also, the people you're surrounded with come off the back of you. Like, if you're influenced by bad people, like in any sense of life, but if you're influenced by bad people on a football pitch, like, I don't know, poor attitude players, whatever, that can reflect on you. And
look at Ante Elanga. Ante Elanga is Rashford, but 5 years ago. That's exactly the same path. Broke into the first team, and look, he is one of the ones that you can say does put his effort in. But Rashford, the spearhead of the club, and I don't want to just single him out right at all.
I'll say
he should set precedent massively.
Yeah, but he's walking around the pitch with his head down, and then he's trudging down the tunnel like he's thinking, he's acting like he's banged in 30 goals this season. He's not. He's been terrible. Every time he's come on, he's been terrible, and he's not even trying at the minute. Like,
Ethan, he honestly thinks he's like the best player in the world right now. The way he's acting, he thinks that being on the bench is the worst thing in the world.
He's there on merit. That Liverpool performance was a disgrace.
Look at Diaz. Look at Jota. Look at the way they come on the bench and they impact the game just like that.
That's hungry forwards.
That's how you get minutes. You earn the minutes. You're not just guaranteed minutes. Sancho's been outperforming you. Elanga's been outperforming you. So how are you going to get in the team? By working harder than them and showing us that you care.
Since he lost his place, he hasn't been in one performance that you could say, I can't remember the last time I said I want Rashford to start.
He started against Everton, and I saw a few bright moments against him. I'm thinking, okay, it's looking a bit better. Like, he's showing a bit of something. But honestly, this whole season, and I know he was injured for the first part of the season, but since he's come back from injury, he's absolutely been horrible in terms of attitude and actual input on the team. And I think he's the epitome of what the club has been this season. I don't want to single him out, of course not. I love Rashford. I do like him as a player. He's one of my favourite players. But you've got to call a spade a spade.
I think what hurts the most is he's not going to be out the door in the summer, is he? He's going to. I believe he will stay here for a long, long time. And this patch right now is really frustrating me. It's really, really sour because, Lingard is going to go in the summer, Pogba's going to go in the summer, Mata, Cavani, these players don't care. They're off. It's whatever. But Rashford's not one of those. But anyway, we've ran it for long enough. Just to wrap up, us as a fan base, we deserve better. The people who turn up week on week to support these boys deserve better. And I'm not going to act entitled and say we deserve to win Premier League, because that's not how it works. But we deserve to see effort. Any football supporter that pays their money, even if you're a supporter watching at home, if you pay your money to watch your team play, you deserve to see effort. And we're not seeing that at the minute. And it's infuriating me, to be honest. And, any player that doesn't fancy it for the rest of the season, just get them out of the team. Even if they're going to play next season, get them out of the team, teach them a lesson, give some of the young kids a go. I can't wait to watch the Youth Cup final. I can't wait to see some fight from a United team. Seriously,
that's completely spot on. Shit, I don't even know what you can add to that. Like I say,
I'm not asking for us to win the treble under Eric Ten Hag next season. Yeah. I just want to see effort, right?
The whole thing with United though is looking forward for them. I was speaking to a United fan after the game about this. Obviously, all this is really sour stuff, but obviously, get rid of the bad eggs, get rid of the players who aren't good enough. Let Ten Hag get rid of players like your De Gea's, your Wan-Bissakas, etc. Who, okay, sure, they cost a lot of money, or sure, they're on heavy amounts of money, but let him have control, similar to Arteta, for example, the Aubameyang and stuff. And I don't know if your fan base will do this, because your fan base can be quite erratic in that sense. But you've got to just firm whatever happens next season, so long as you're, seeing small progress. Obviously, let Ten Hag sign who he wants to sign. But don't overthink, how the season goes next year. Obviously, take positives where you see them, but don't, jump to stuff, because you're at a point now where, okay, maybe your squad's still really good and you've just got a bunch of players down tooling, whatever reason that may be. But ultimately, most of these players in the current squad, they shouldn't be near a Man United 11. Like, I couldn't
Not
really
the way
name
they're
you.
playing anyway.
The one thing I will say,
And
the one thing I
you've
will
got to
say
just
is that, the one thing I will say is that it's very alarming how, this time last year, everything was looking decent. We were in a final of the Europa League. We had a team that had spirit, had fight. Look at the amount of comebacks we had. Obviously, COVID time, so you got to add that tax to it. But we had a team that we actually enjoyed watching, and they're the same players. Apart from Sancho, Ronaldo, Varane coming in, you still had Rashford, you still had Bruno, De Gea was there, or Henderson, but you still got Wan-Bissaka. Shaw was there,
playing
Maguire,
well. Cavani, who just decided he couldn't be bothered this season.
Cavani, and now this season
Day off.
he's on annual leave.
Yeah, annual leave the whole year.
Furlough.
30 days off.
You
Like,
might as well be paying him
all,
for
like,
My point is that how can it go from that to that? And
I think it's just they've got too big for their boots. All those players that you just mentioned, like the four that were so good last season, Shaw, Maguire, Bruno, Rashford, they're all good players, but they just got too big for their boots. Like, being out of form is fine, but you need to knuckle down and
I think
improve.
that's harsh on Shaw, to be fair.
Shaw's not been good this year, though. Like, he's not been as bad as some of the
I
others.
don't think he's been amazing, but I think that's more down to, like, he can go through inconsistent periods. Some players start slow and stuff, like Sancho, for example, is a notorious slow starter in his first season. But someone like Shaw, I wouldn't jump too much with him. Obviously, injuries and stuff. I think the fact his backup is Tellez, like, that doesn't help you much at all.
Yeah,
He
but no,
started
that's
Talk
not
about
good. That's not
Tellez.
good enough though. Just lastly on this United thing, this thing's really bugging me. I cannot stand Man United. I cannot stand them. Like, everyone knows that. But you watch them and you watch absolutely, bar about, like they said, 2 or 3 players, absolutely spineless performances, no effort. And the thing that bugs me the most is you have a new manager coming in, you have a new project, you have a new manager coming in, you've got a new director, you've got this, you've got this.
How's that not enough to get these players
exactly.
playing?
But why are players waiting until the first game of the season or pre-season for the new manager to come in? They try. Why are they not putting in the effort to show these?
Quick question.
And Rangnick is going to providing, who's been doing what
I need
under him.
I need to listen to this phone call or letter or whatever he's going to hand on to Ten Hag. I want to get hold of it.
He's doing his homework, isn't he, Ten Hag? It's like,
it's
like the way you watch these players. It's like, oh, he's not watching. It's fine. I won't try today, but I'll try when.
I heard something today about Rashford thinking, he knows he's not under his plans for Rangnick, but he's willing to, he wants to find clarity on his role with Eric Ten Hag. I'm thinking, mate, clarity on your role. You're on the bench, fella.
I'll be honest, right?
How about have some performances now, and then you can work for Eric Ten Hag? Because I don't want you to work for Eric Ten Hag.
Be careful reading anything you see media-wise, because obviously it's toxic at United, but they take full advantage of that. I remember when Ole was leaving or linked, when Ten Hag even joined, you got stuff coming, Rangnick, like United, Arsenal, all these sort of clubs, right? Like, I remember as well with us, all the leaks and stuff, so I can relate to this as well. But just don't, honestly listen to 1% of what you see in the media, because they use it as an opportunity to target players or target clubs and make the most out of bad situations.
I mean, we'll just have to see where he comes in. I mean, it can't come soon enough, to be honest. I'm absolutely sick and tired of this season, but I'll still be there on Thursday, unfortunately. But, that's what being a supporter is. We don't give up on the team as much as they give up on us. But